All right, this scandal is obviously not about texting in the U.S. Capitol building. It's about Jeffrey Epstein dictating this Congresswoman's questions in real time during a real committee hearing, and she's reading it pretty much verbatim in an effort to smear Donald J. Trump. That would be a major scandal. Needless to say, Democrats, they brought this all on themselves. Remember, during all of Biden's term, they never one time asked for the Epstein files to be released. They knew they had them. It wasn't a topic of discussion. But now, in a cheap, dishonest attempt to smear Donald Trump, they ended up revealing the dirty truth about their own party. And suddenly it boomeranged back on them, and suddenly they no longer seem interested in talking much about Jeffrey Epstein. Here now with reaction. He is the star, the star of all stars. ESPN's First Take. He's got a podcast. He's got a Sirius XM show. Is there anything you don't do for a living? Stephen A.
Well, what I don't do for a living is sit up there and instigate the way that you do. That's what I don't do, Sean. I mean, my God, you're turning.
You get paid
Jasmine
to
Crockett
instigate.
is becoming a star. I mean, she's really, really living in your head. How many clips of Jasmine Crockett are you going to show? I mean, what's up with you?
Wait a minute, but you yourself on your show said, why didn't Democrats? They had these files for 4 years. Now, could it be because it implicates Bill Clinton, Lawrence Summers, Hakeem Jeffries, and a bunch of other Democrats, Stacey Plaskett? Maybe that's why. And by the way,
I don't think it's me.
while you answer, is that the reason why? And then I have a follow-up.
Sure. Well, I think so. I definitely think, listen. Obviously, you know what, it's grand jury testimony. That's not subject to be released. Obviously, you need the courts to have that, and we get that part, and I understand that argument that the Democrats were making. My retort is, don't tell me you're in power and you couldn't find a way to circumvent that if you wanted it bad enough, considering everything else that you did to try to prevent Trump from winning re-election and getting back in the White House. Don't tell me if you thought that there was a preponderance of evidence that can incredibly incriminate him, that could derail his pursuit of returning to the White House, that you wouldn't have done it. There had to be some other incentive. That's just what I'm deducing logically. And then when we hear that we have Democratic officials that were talking to Jeffrey Epstein, trying to get money from him, etc., then that's not a good look either, particularly considering the fact that you already knew that this man was considered to be a sex offender, and he was certainly going to do some time in prison.
He was convicted.
So you have to look at it from that standpoint, from a political perspective, and say, you're damn right that had a lot to do with why they didn't exhaust themselves trying to get the Epstein files open. But still in all, it's all politics is par for the course, and we shouldn't be surprised.
No, it's not. All these so-called journalists are begging Epstein at different times to release any dirt he may have about Trump. He told David Schoen, his attorney, in the final days of his life, he said, do you have any dirt on Donald Trump that will help you in your criminal case? No, I don't have anything. Now, Trump threw this guy out in public, spectacular fashion out of Mar-a-Lago. Now, do you think if Epstein in all the intervening years, 25 years, if he had any dirt on Donald Trump, he would have released it? And can anybody take anything seriously he or some of the unsavory characters that surrounded him in his life ever say or said about Donald Trump? Especially we see he was trying to help Democrats the whole way. I wouldn't believe a word any of them say.
You can't believe what they're saying about Trump as it pertains to anything involving Epstein, because before Trump ran for the presidency, whatever relationship he had with him, he's spoken up for him, he's spoken out against him. Matter of fact, in 2015, I recall seeing some video where he's calling them out and saying, you guys are going to find out some stuff that's been going on with this guy. Trust you me, just wait for it. I don't know when it'll happen, but he was warning everybody. So that's okay. We understand that part. But let's not act surprised that stuff gets politicized. The Democrats are in a position where you're trying to find a winning formula. And in the end, if you can sit up there and position yourself to be somebody that comes across as a paragon of virtue while you're denigrating the president of the United States right now because of the power he wields, you're going to use that if you could utilize it for the 2026 midterms and beyond. Let's not act like that's a surprise here. We know that it is. What we have to find out is whether or not whatever level of veracity and truth there is to what they're saying or not. But I think what folks didn't count on was, I think that Trump As my boy Jeff said, Trump has become a verb because what happened is he's trumped them once again because he said he wasn't going to open the files. He says he wasn't going to sit up there and sign off on that. He was wondering what the big deal was about, even after he campaigned on it.
So
and then when
there's another way to say that, by the way. You could just say
votes to support him. He turned around
and said, "You could just say,
Hannity,
you're right again." You could just say it
that way. No, you're not right again because here's what he did. Here's what he did. I'm not going to say. Right. I can figure out a way to say things without saying you're right. How about that? Number two, the point is, Sean, he trumped them because he says at the 11th hour and 59th minute, go ahead, I'll sign it. Let's open everything.
All right, Stephen A. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.